Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are we doing tonight?
Wow. Doing great.
Amazing.
Dude, you look amazing.
Thanks, man.
And you smell amazing.
Do I smell like shit?
Well, I'm glad you figured that out. It's the only way we could tell you.
I've known.
You've known. Well, we've got some cool stuff that we want to get into tonight. I want to talk about a little bit about the Rings of Power later on in the show. I don't necessarily want to jump right into that one. I do want to get into NVIDIA's 4000 series cards. God bless you.
Thank you.
NVIDIA's 4000 series cards because I'm a big fan of GPUs and performance increases from generation to generation. And this is a meaningful bump. So for my uninformed brethren, which are my console boys sitting next to me, and for all the millions of people listening out there, the NVIDIA
Is it a PS5?
Yes, it is. It costs 3 PS5s.
I saw it look like
Affordable.
the size of a PS5.
It's about the size of a PS5.
Cool.
It's one of the ways they can cheat, but they're not cheating with performance on this one. I'll be honest. The initial reviews are out, so it's still early on. Stuff has been dropping sort of like this week. And hold on, is our microphone here? No, I think we're good. Audio's
We're good. I tested earlier.
Good. So reviews are coming out. They basically been dropping, I think, today and yesterday. The big news is like this is seemingly lining up to be about a 70% computational boost over last gen, and in some areas even more.
Jesus.
Usually
Wow.
you see like a generational jump of like 20-30%, and it's priced to perfection. Okay, it's like $1,600 for this card. It's a 4090, so it's their top series cards, and then over the next 6 to 8 months they'll come out with, the lower end stuff. But this thing, gentlemen, you'll appreciate this, runs Cyberpunk 4K with ray tracing. 4K Cyberpunk with ray tracing at over 100 frames per second.
So does the PS5, but it drops down to about 10 frames per second.
This thing is a monster. Like compared to like the previous gen, like 3090, I think the previous gen I saw a video and it was talking like I think it was only at like 40 or 28 frames or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like a 4x improvement.
Wow.
And that's not even to talk about it's called DLSS. I think it's like direct link super sampling. I don't who cares what it means.
PlayStation has that.
Yeah, so there is settings.
We're just,
It does.
I know, but it's not the same.
But it doesn't have DLSS 3.0. Okay, which is just dropped out, and I haven't seen any initial reviews because it's been super buggy. But if we go off of their marketing material, which is huge asterisk, what we've been shown is like before DLSS could it was an algorithm that could scale up. It would render the game in like 720, and let's say you wanted to play it in like 1440 or whatever. It would render the game in 720 or 1080, and then use this algorithm to sort of scale it up to that. And DLSS was like actually pretty decent for NVIDIA cards. And there was a lot of people out there that were like, this is kind of crazy technology that takes some of the stress away from your GPU and is sort of able to artificially create these pixels just based on what's around them. And it worked well. There's a bunch of tests in Cyberpunk that you're like, are you sure this isn't rendered in native 1440? It was really impressive. DLSS 3 has the ability to actually insert entire frames that are computer generated.
Wow.
So they're based off like the previous frame, and that's what they're showing you on screen. It's pretty cool technology because they're able to take like Microsoft Flight Simulator is sort of the big benchmark that everyone because it's just an absolute monster of a game to play. I I don't know really why I did that because it is a game, but you got to be
game.
Yeah, it's fringe.
If you're
It's more of
lame, I'm just kidding.
I guess it is a simulator, so, right? So that's its own
Simulators
category.
are popping.
Yeah.
Like everyone loves simulators these days.
And if I had a computer that could run it, I totally would. I just don't. It's very demanding. But anyway, it has the ability to create its own frames and run these games that like they did a demo and it was like it took what a machine was running at like 20, 25 frames and took it well over 100. And if you just think about, to the people like, well, it's not, it looks so fake, and think about the experience that you have gaming at 20 FPS and then take that to 100. Like, even if there is some artifacting or stuff like that, like, I guess it is a sim game, so you're trying to, break the immersion, but I think you'll be a lot more immersed from 20 frames to 100 frames.
It hurts me now. Like I get used to it after a while, but it takes a while. It hurts me when I play less than 60 frames.
I know I can't, like in Cyberpunk, they have the better frame rate or better graphics.
They have a performance mode and they have like a quality mode. And
I cannot do quality.
First off, on console, it's much different on PC. But on console, the changes between modes is so minuscule. I can't even really see what is pumped up higher. They're like, oh, ray tracing is better. But like, I notice a lot of that stuff in performance mode anyways. But the frames drop down so low. It's like, I want to say it's in the ballpark of like 20 at max. Like, that's what it feels like. And on performance mode, it runs at a solid 60. And there's no way I would ever sacrifice frames for graphics.
No.
It's just not worth it to me.
The only game I might do that in would be like Telltale.
8-bit.
Well, like a Telltale.
Yeah. Something where there's not a lot of,
like a Quantic Dream
Yeah.
game or something. But like, a game that thrives on its fluidity of movement.
Yeah, no.
Could
you imagine Call of Duty? Let me slow down my frame so the guns look.
It's got to look better. It's got to look crisper.
I think genuinely, like, having amazing graphics will bring some people into the game just because they get sold on a cinematic trailer or something like that. But what keeps people staying and keeps people buying in over time is the experience. And if you can have a better experience, a la less graphics or less graphical performance, you're taking that all day long. It's just that simple, right? So,
well, why don't you tell us a little bit about Rings of Power as two people that still have yet to watch it? Before you get into what you want to talk about, what would you say? Like, because there's still a huge community online around like just hating on this show unjustifiably.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that's neutral? Like, well, I've heard a lot of things. I don't know if I want to watch that just yet. What would you say? Because obviously you're loving it.
I think it's totally fair to not watch it yet if you wanted to like have the first season filmed and out published and then binge it all. I know there's actually a couple. I think you both.
Yeah,
maybe less so you because you're not really sold on this on the IP. But I know you're waiting for it to just sort of burn through it.
Yeah.
I know a couple other people that are doing that as well. I don't think that's a bad strategy. I think actually Lord of the Rings, in terms of a lot of storylines going on, and there's a lot of people being introduced. And if you can binge it, you can get attached to those storylines a lot better than waiting a week. We talked about it before the series even came out, where we were hoping that people were going to jump into the game or jump into the series and like it would do like maybe a part 1 or a part 2, and they would do like a 4-episode release where people could sit down and watch 6 hours of Lord of the Rings content. The audience is sort of built to do that because they binge watch the movies, and I mean the extended editions are damn near 4 hours.
You're a Lord of the Rings fan. You're well equipped and ready
you're
to
prepared.
Watch content like that.
So that aside, like I understand why people are waiting. Even if you don't like this genre, like fantasy isn't really your, it's something you dabble in. Maybe you're not that interested in it. I think just as a show in terms of production value, it would bring you in.
Yeah.
Specifically, actually, this is one of the topics I wanted to bring up here later. Actually, I think I can bring it up now.
I was like, let's just do it now. Yeah.
So let's see. Someone posted on Reddit the beauty of.
There's a Balrog.
Yes, there's a Balrog. We're doing some spoilers, obviously, but
By the way,
let's jump into the second monitor here.
well, the Balrog was in the trailer. That's not really a
Balrog was
spoiler.
in the trailer.
Yeah.
That is correct. That's actually a very good point.
But we should
That
still say
apple?
spoiler alert
So-
for people that are
That apple is the spoiler.
So
It means so much.
that apple.
this was a post on Reddit, and
It's the ring of power.
it is absolutely
Yeah.
these images don't even come close to doing it justice. But like the animation and the effects of the Balrog, seeing from like the 2001 production to now what they're able to do, like blows you away. And this is obviously CGI, and this is actually something that I think the show has done really well. What?
Well, I mean, obviously,
But like
they actually trained the Balrog. Can you believe it?
For the
It's
first Lord of the
insane.
Rings.
But like, look at some of these shots that they've actually gone out and like captured of the real world. Like, this ship is obviously CGI.
Where did they film this? Do you know?
But I think they filmed a lot of it in New Zealand,
So okay,
and-
so they kind of kept it with
Yep.
that.
and I think a lot in Canada and stuff like that too. And they filmed it in London. They filmed it in a bunch of different spots, Scotland. But like, look at this shot. You know, like this is just incredible. Now I don't know how much they're superimposing on this, but still, these are natural. That's not CGI. You know, grass. These are people walking, you know, in a field.
Yeah.
And the costumes are second to none. This scene, huge spoiler. I'm almost.
That
tempted
was
to
in the
not.
trailer too, though.
This was.
Yeah. No context, but I do remember seeing that in the trailer
So
where
you
she's
s-
covered in that.
You see the huge spoiler, so mute for the next 20 seconds. You see the creation of Mordor.
Oh shit!
You see the transition from Southlands to Mordor, which is where the orcs kind of generate their army, and you see the eruption of Mount Doom. And so this is what they're covered with, is this ash, and the scene. This was all one scene.
Wow.
The scene that came from that, one of the most visually stunning things I've ever seen. It was so captivating. I had never seen. It was just real. It was like I don't even understand. I can't even imagine how they created it. It was one of those things that take you out of the show to appreciate it. You're just like,
Wow.
holy shit, this is incredible. Big fan of that. You're seeing, we don't really know what's this all about. You see like the Numenorian camp, again, built into a hillside here. Like, these are natural landscapes that they've sort of scouted and put this stuff up as scenes. Just
My
some of
eyes
the most
starting
visually,
to twitch just looking at that. I'm like feeling the dust in my eye. I'm like,
right? Like that is, I don't even know how they got that. I think they use that stuff they put on trees, like Christmas trees, the white that acts like snow or something.
Yeah.
And they glued it on because there's no way you could keep your eye, you know, without
Open
getting
like
shit
that?
in there. Yeah, but like, all the dwarven stuff, dude, where like their ore and then this leaf transition. It's just phenomenal stuff. So you've got the CGI component, which is big budget CGI. I've had no complaints. It is top tier stuff, especially the Balrog animation that we've seen so far. We haven't really been shown anything. The season finale is Thursday or Friday is when it comes out, but I watch them on Thursdays because I'm on the Pacific time coast or coast time, whatever. Pacific Standard Time.
Coast of the multiple time coasts.
Words are cool.
there are other coasts, you know. Don't be so
Pacific Coast is the
self-centered.
best coast. It's just it's really amazing, and they have sold me just on the visuals alone, let alone the story. So I think even casual people that maybe aren't into fantasy can watch this and go, "Wow, they put this together." So I wanted to go into this interview. They gave this exclusive interview to, I think, the Hollywood Reporter originally posted on it. Let's get back to the main screen here. But the directors did this like interview with these guys, and it was just actually really cool to see behind the scenes when this all started and what actually took place. So for one of the things the article discusses, I don't know if you guys got a chance to read it, was it talked about how Netflix actually bid more money
Then Amazon.
than Amazon. And what Netflix wanted to do was actually take the Marvel approach and give each character their own series/movie. So Gandalf has his movie, or Gandalf has
I would
his
have liked that
series,
even
or
less.
the Tolkien Society, the people who hold the rights to the IP, fucking hated it. They hated the concept of separating each, person into their own.
Understandably, I think.
And it's just, as a fan, I just kind of gush over this stuff. It's just like so impressive that, and we were talking like tens of millions of dollars that you reject, because you want to, it's sacred to you. Like, the Tolkien Society, I think like that whole estate or whatever.
And they're still getting ripped apart too for selling to Amazon.
Yeah. But after reading this, yeah, I feel like they did a damn good job.
Do you think it's one of those things that
Well, Amazon's just fucking
people would be
stuff.
swayed if they actually took the time to watch it? Because there's a lot of people that just outright refuse to watch it too, not just.
Those people don't deserve an opinion, in my opinion. Like,
Interesting.
In your opinion?
What if
if
they
you-
watched live streams of it?
live streams? What do you mean?
I'm just kidding.
Oh. No, then they would have seen the content. But how can you have an opinion on
I
a
know, I'm
series
just kidding.
based
I
on-
agree with you 100%.
No, that's like reviewing a book that you never read. Like, you can hear a synopsis of a story and just
A lot of
shit all
people
over
that
it,
have
but
the
it's like, you
loudest
haven't read
have the loudest opinions know the least about things.
So I totally agree with that. But when you take the time to read this and listen to the directors, it was really cool because they talked about how they wanted to keep it true to like Tolkien. And they knew that they were going to have to take certain liberties, but everything that they pitched, the ideas that they pitched to the society, I keep calling it the society. I don't know what group sold
The
the
Secret
rights.
Society.
Yeah,
of
whatever it
Tolkien
is.
Lore.
Illuminati.
They came to it with like this love, like it's these two guys that just fell in love with Middle Earth and
Well, so did
his writings.
I wonder? Did you'll have to tell me, Billy? Did the Tolkien Secret Society sell it to Amazon or to the screenwriters?
Oh, to Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.
Well, I mean,
it was
like-
Amazon versus Netflix.
Did the screenwriters go to the Tolkien Society and they were the ones that made the Tolkien Society decide, or was it just like Amazon's like, here's 20,000?
No. From my understanding, is there was like some talks that of them. So I think they put it out to bid for this story, and then they got Netflix to the table and Amazon, and I think maybe HBO or some other production company came to it, and they obviously wanted to get the highest bidder, of course. But they also heard each other's pitches, and they went with. I mean, they still paid a fat penny. I think the rights alone were $230 million or something like that, just for the rights, let alone the budget for the film. But they love what they said. They're going to fully fund 5 seasons. They are, going to, they had to like come up with a draft of this in like in a week. Or like maybe not. I think like overnight they were flying to the meeting and they had to like have like an initial pitch, and the society was like, "We want to hear more about this." And so they sort of developed it and got comfortable with like, "Hey, you're going to do a good job, and we want to see what you can come up with." And so it's like this mutual trust, and it's not. It's obviously Amazon's doing it to make money and promote their service, but like the people that are directing it, the showrunners. This is a passion project for them. I see it very paralleling Peter Jackson's sort of history with the films and how he loved them as a kid and wants to create it.
I don't know if it's still currently, but didn't at one point it surpassed House of the Dragon on like viewership?
Yeah. So Amazon is kind of like they don't do like mid-season reporting, but I heard that they did do like a first episode, and from what I understand, like the first episode or so did outperform House
That's
of
like
Dragon.
its number one rival right now is that show,
Yeah.
as far as the same genre.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, the people over there, like House of Dragons is being ran much more like a Netflix show right now. They've had like 8 people have been just complaining that there's been like 8 or 9 time skips just to speed up along. Like the pacing is all over the place in House of Dragon. And in Tolkien's world, like this story has sort of pulled timelines together and stitched them together instead of doing time skips, which as an audience that hasn't read the books, it's felt very fluid. But as someone who hasn't read the books, they're like, there's people out there, this has actually happened for 50 years or 200, and it's like, it's hard to weave this all together. So they are taking some liberties, but there's people out there, like there's
the timeline. I mean, it's impossible to, if they followed the original timeline on this show, it wouldn't make sense. I mean, there's literally like 1,000-year gaps in between things. Mm-hmm. Like that would be boring to watch.
Yeah. Just all of a sudden, time skip.
And
1,000 years later,
characters die off.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the elves because they just live for forever, So, but like, every other character, dwarf, man, like you'd have to constantly cycle in a new cast.
Yeah, and
except for the elves.
Yeah,
and I think they've nailed it in terms of casting and stuff. But there's people out there like Nerd of the Rings on YouTube. Like, yeah, he has some criticisms about the show. There's certain things he doesn't like, but overall, he's a massive fan of the series, and I love that because he's, in my opinion, what I'm exposed to, the foremost expert, or one of at least, in terms of Tolkien knowledge. And he's digging it, and he watches all the shows, and he's a big fan of it, and describes and explains things. So I think they're killing it, and what's cool is they haven't filmed all of the seasons, which I initially wanted them to have like, because that's what they did with the original Lord of the Rings. They filmed all 3 movies at once. And I thought, that'd be cool if they did all 5 seasons of filming and then moved on. Actually, they haven't done that yet with the filming. And what's cool is they can take the feedback from the audience. And so there's some people are like, pretty knowledgeable in that universe. And they're like, hey, let's maybe give this character a little bit more depth, or let's see a little bit. And they can make those minor tweaks and adjustments as they sort of go along the way.
Yeah.
You mean they're not taking the Avatar route?
Yeah, well, they are taking the Avatar route in some ways. Season 2 is expected to come in at like 2024.
Jeez.
Which is very upsetting because they just started filming, or they're planning to start filming like now or at the beginning of 2023.
The Way of the Water is going to be the greatest film of all time. And I don't want either of you talking shit, all right?
Yes.
Are you ready?
We're going
Are you ready for
right?
water? Are you ready?
Do you know water?
Do you know?
So
I'll watch it for like the visual spectacle. It's going to be incredible in that aspect of things, but it's not like this is like I am waiting for this.
Some people are, and I still don't understand.
I know if you go to like a comment section of like a trailer, people are literally like, the first film changed me forever. I'm ready for that metamorphosis again. And like they'll say stuff like that. I'm like, dude, calm down. Like I nerd out about things, but I don't know how much they spent.
It's impossible for it to flop, right?
I think that it's no matter what, it's guaranteed to make at least $1 billion. At the very least.
Well, revenue, yeah, but like it's probably the most expensive film in history to make?
Avatar? Like the series? Probably with the technology they're using. He's always talking about cutting edge new ways of filming water.
So anyway, that's my review.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
my review. We can move on from that, but I hope I inspired some of you guys to check it out.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it once the finale comes
spectacle.
out. I would like to touch on a show that's getting shit on even harder than Rings of Power, and that's She-Hulk. Because I'm caught up now.
Ooh,
I caught up, and all right, I'll throw a spoiler tag in here right now. But I mean, it's not like it's a surprise because they teased it in all the trailers and stuff. Daredevil is back. And it was a damn good showing with Daredevil. Like they didn't do him poorly at all.
Nice.
And it almost made, so I actually like the series. A lot of people, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing I'll point out, the CGI is still not good. It's one of those things that the sooner you accept that, the more you're just like whatever about it, because it's just not great. And it's kind of off-putting at first, but it's not quite Uncanny Valley. It's just doesn't look that great. Looks like a video game cutscene whenever she's on. So that's a big flaw, something that you get over. The other one is people weren't expecting it to be kind of a sitcom, because it's definitely a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's more funny than it is anything
Do they have a
else.
laugh track?
No laugh track.
But there's fourth wall breaks.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Deadpool style, fourth wall breaks.
That's fun.
It's fun, and that's what she does in the comics, I guess. I'm not a huge She-Hulk fan. I don't read the comics, but apparently she fourth wall breaks in the comics a lot. And so it just makes sense for it to be there. But it's been really good. It's entertaining. It's fun. Despite what you'll read online, I don't think that the feminism is like, people are like, it's too much. That's what they're like saying, she's too anti-man. And I'm like, I don't think that she is at all. Actually, I think you're kind of misunderstanding. Like, she's anti-asshole, which there's a lot that she's dealing with. But oh my God, Daredevil showing up in episode 8. And this Thursday is the finale as well for this show. Was so fucking good. He's just like he is in the comics. He has all his moments to shine. There's even a hallway scene.
Oh,
It's not as good as the Netflix one, but there's still a hallway scene. And he's first introduced just as a lawyer. So he comes up, he's in a trial right after, like, he's representing someone opposite of She-Hulk, and he smokes her in court, and his case wins. And then he goes to extend a peace offering, and then thus their relationship, partnership kind of builds from there. But that's another show. I don't think it's not on the same quality cinematically as Rings of Power, but I think if you like Marvel, you'd be doing yourself a disservice, at least not looking into it, because you're afraid of like what you've been reading online, because it's getting shit on pretty hard. I think IMDb has it at like a 5 out of 10. And it's definitely not 5 out of 10. It's not their best work as far as TV shows go, but it's just entertaining,
And I think that's what's interesting is Lord of the Rings got reviewed bombed at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not there anymore. Like, I'm not seeing really much of any noise in these later episodes, other than maybe some slight critiques on pacing. But every episode has just climbed in terms of popularity, and like Rotten Tomatoes has it a lot healthier now, and whatever fucking reviewing scheme that I will never understand how that works, and I don't care to be honest, because I'll make my own opinions. But like, it keeps climbing on IMDb and both of those.
If you look at IMDb and She-Hulk, if you look at the episodes individually, it's like 5, 4, 6,
Wow.
5, and then on the Daredevil episodes, like 8.5
for one character.
One character, and I'm like, the show quality didn't change just because Daredevil was on there. It's just because people were like, "Yeah, Daredevil," and I was too, but I also appreciated the other ones. And yes, nothing she's doing is really changing the MCU overall. It's very localized to her. But those are the kind of things I like, and this is coming from someone that's kind of marveled out right now. I've fallen behind on a lot of the shows. I never even watched Moon Knight. And the movies I go to, but
You still haven't?
No, still haven't watched it. I mean, I read everything that was important to read just so I can be in the know for story wise, but I didn't actually watch the show. So it's just, it's fun. And they know what they were doing. Like, when he first shows up in his Daredevil costume, she's talking to him. She's like, "What are you? Like, the gold devil guy?" And he's like, "What? I'm Daredevil." And when he says that, you can hear the Netflix Daredevil theme playing in the background. But it actually is the one from the Netflix show.
Ooh.
Like, they have that in the background when he says, "I'm Daredevil," and he says it all intense. And then it gets kind of undercut because she's like, okay, and you thought or you thought ketchup and mustard was a good color scheme. And then he's like, tell that to, whatever. Like he comes back.
Yeah.
So they kind of undercut it with humor. And I think that might be where some of the complaints are is every serious moment is being undercut with something funny. But that's all of the MCU right now.
Yeah, it is.
Look at Thor.
Yeah.
Thor was one of the worst examples of that.
And that I will agree with that criticism. I think it's like almost like they saw the success of Guardians and they just made every show like
"Let's
Guardians.
Turn it up to 10.
And I'm just I wouldn't mind a little bit of the seriousness coming back like from the first Iron Man, and like some of the Captain Americas. Like I feel like the intensity is lost a little bit. It makes serious moments not seem so serious, even though the stakes are so much higher now.
Yeah, it turns like action to action comedy to just comedy. It's like, okay, these are funny guys that do crazy cool stuff sometimes.
Well, yeah, go back, like...
Yeah,
I
go
don't
watch
know why.
the original.
It popped in my mind, like, Die Hard is a perfect mix of action comedy, right?
Yeah.
You have the jokes, but then you have, like, people are getting murdered.
Like
and-
the second hour of
Yeah.
that movie is all intense.
Yeah, and go back to that. Iron Man was like that.
Yeah, Iron Man 1, dude, that guy was a hostage
He was prisoner
for like
of war.
the whole movie, and then he broke out, and then
And then his boss or his best... No, not his boss. His, like, partner.
His
betrays
dad's
him,
partner.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I don't know, man.
that had a very serious tone.
It still had its moments too. It still had funny moments, but it was intelligently funny. It wasn't like, I don't know, like something super serious like Sif in Ragnarok.
With her arm cut off and she's dying.
Yeah, she's like, and I'll get to die, and he's like, well, you actually didn't die in battle. That's not like, really. She wouldn't know that. She's an Asgardian and she doesn't know
Like
how
one
it
of the
works.
best warriors they've
And
have.
she got turned into a meme. So yes, while I thought Ragnarok was enjoyable, I can understand why people feel that way with how they're getting these days. I would like something to bring back the seriousness, and I think Daredevil Born Again
It's going to
perfect
do
show
it.
to do it. It's not going to be like how it was on Netflix though. Netflix was
No slamming
Too
heads
brutal.
in doors.
yeah. Kingpin literally killed a guy by slamming his head in a door over and over again. They showed the whole thing. He was going all nuts, and they don't have that ability
No.
to do
Do
that
you like
anymore.
that guy as Kingpin?
Love him.
Absolutely not in. He was okay in Hawkeye, but he was way better in the Netflix show. If anyone is a Marvel fan and they haven't watched Netflix Daredevil, it's on Disney Plus now. It's not on Netflix anymore. I'd recommend going through that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very loosely tied into the MCU. Like there's references here and there, but it's not like a hard like connection.
Until now.
Till now. Punisher season 1 was great. Punisher season 2 is
I want him back, John Bernthal.
he just doesn't fit in the MCU.
I know he's really
He's
dark.
too brutal. It's too much.
He's such a. I feel like he's typecast.
Yeah.
Like he is the same character across.
Yeah, he does
genre.
play the same person a lot.
Yeah,
Like in Fury when he played that asshole guy.
he's in Walking Dead too, right?
Yeah, he played a bad guy in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
An asshole. He
Was
played
he wasn't
Kevin
always a
Asshole
bad
in
guy, though,
Wolf of Wall Street.
yeah.
He's always like just kind of a stereotypical tough guy.
Tough guy jerk.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see like
His
there's
best role is still Frank Castle though. Super good.
It's kind of interesting to see like certain actors like only. I don't know if it's they
Oh.
only go for those roles because that's what they're comfortable with. Because or maybe they've tried to break out in another thing and they realize, oh God, this is so bad.
I think it comes to a certain point. You get typecast by Hollywood, and it's like I could either be making money or not making money.
Oh, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Do I
Like,
take risk and less money?
that's why Liam Neeson, after Taken, he was in every action movie ever for a while.
12
which he-
good cuts.
Old man.
he never
action
did
guy.
action. Yeah, he never did action until that. Like he was always like
What
a
was his first action film? You think Batman?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. He
Oh,
played
well, yeah,
Qui-Gon
Star Wars.
Jinn. But like he was like
did he actually have any action in that though?
He fought Darth
fought
Maul
Darth
for like
Maul.
a second.
Yeah.
but he was like a rom-com guy.
Yeah.
And then he had like, he was in Schindler's List, very serious movie, but
That's true.
he wasn't like an action hero, like especially not in like the 80s, And so when Taken came out, and it's all like the performance when he delivered that line, he's like, "I will find you and I will kill you." Like that was enough.
Iconic.
Yeah, that was enough for everyone to be like, "Okay, this guy should be an action star."
So
Forgetting the fact that he's like 70 now.
Liam Neeson and his action movies reminded me. Have you guys seen the trailer for Violent Night?
No.
So David Harbour,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
from Stranger Things, he's going to play a Santa Claus
Oh my god,
That
I did
is
see this.
against terrorists, and he's killing them.
What?
Yes.
My wife sent me a
Sounds
clip
like
of
Die
this,
Hard.
and I thought it was a joke.
It's real. He goes, and I guess this rich family is being like, these terrorists come to steal money from the vault. He shows up at the house to deliver presents, and he gets involved, and so he just starts killing them because this little girl, she's on the nice
No,
list.
it's always a little girl, yeah.
And so he just goes, and then he says like seasons beatings in the trailer.
Oh no, dude! It might be the greatest film of all time.
I think it might be good. It's by the same people that did Nobody.
And
Yeah, that was an amazing action
I love
movie.
Nobody.
Nobody
Well,
was
then there you
so
go.
good.
So seasoned beatings, but
is that the name of the movie?
no, it's
Violent
Violent Night.
Oh, they
But
should've-
in the trailer, he says seasons beatings.
I mean, it's
think I love
probably
it.
an action comedy.
Yeah.
Like they have to be self-aware.
It's got John Leguizamo as the terrorist. Sloth.
Dude,
The
I
sloth.
miss. You brought up Lethal Weapon. Those were awesome movies, dude. They
You
don't
mean
make
Die Hard?
no Lethal Weapon.
I brought up Die Hard.
No, Lethal Weapon earlier.
I said Die Hard.
I don't think anyone brought that up, but that's
No,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Mel Gibson.
Really, you brought up that
Die Hard, yeah.
I thought I heard Lethal Weapon earlier. I'm talking about like earlier segment, like 20, 30 minutes ago. But how good were those movies?
The first one is the only one I can recall crystal clear. The other ones I didn't
Yeah.
watch that much.
I like the Joe Pesci joins the series later on, but like there was like such a good. They don't make those movies anymore. They really don't
I did not-
serious, but like lighthearted and just like characters with real flaws and real issues. And
They don't make really new IPs.
dude, it's sad.
Like, I mean, if you look back at the 80s, we had Terminator, Kindergarten Cop, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, all like new. Like they didn't interconnect, but now
what people went to the movies for back then was different than what people
Yeah.
go to the movies for now. I feel like people go to the movies and they just don't want to see like a movie that they feel like can easily be watched at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like people go to the movies now, they want to like their mind to explode,
Yeah, it's all these movies that have like $300 million CGI budgets.
Like can you imagine a rom-com being released and making a bunch of money at the box office now? It just doesn't happen.
Well, that happened with that movie Bros.
Yeah, it got like, and there's some like debate on whether or not because it's like a gay couple, but I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think people just don't want to see that kind of movie in the theaters anymore.
But doesn't it have its place though? Like, then don't launch it in theaters. Like, launch it. I don't know what platform you would end up.
Well, that's
doing
what
it,
I'm
but
saying is I kind of miss. Sometimes I kind of miss going to the
to
theaters
see
to
something
watch.
light like that.
Not everything you see
She's
in the
Got
theater
Mail.
has to be a blockbuster.
Mhm.
And now those are the only kinds of movies that survive. Everything else goes straight to streaming.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame.
It is definitely weird. I can't think. Can you guys think of the last movie you went to see that didn't have like any action
Marvel.
in it?
That
Any
wasn't like a blockbuster.
Yeah. Or even a blockbuster.
No,
I can't think of
I
one.
can't think of anything.
Every movie I'm going through that I went in theaters had some type of action or horror.
My wife went to like a dog movie recently.
Oh, Dog. I think it's called.
it
With
called
Channing
Dog?
Tatum.
Yeah.
Tatum.
Yeah, I haven't been to the theater. Like, one of my favorite movies
That is interesting.
this movie called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. And I would love to see a movie like that in theaters, but I just don't. That's like the kind of movie that would just get straight to Netflix now.
Well, they had, what is it? Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's
it
straight,
was straight
to
to
Netflix.
Netflix.
You know,
Well,
what's
I don't know,
funny
what
is,
do you
like,
think?
the home experience too, in watching films, we get like less than half of the experience, right? One, you have like pretty much everyone has like a large flat screen TV, so you're gonna have some decent viewing angle, but I've seen a lot of optimal home setups just regarding that. They mount it on basically on their ceiling. It's like I don't know. I'll never understand that. You got the whole wall and they put the damn TV like, well, if someone walks by, it's like, what, someone 7 foot tall going to walk by? Like
That's Kyle's house.
that one time you're worried about that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a pet peeve of mine. But then, like, we have, like, no one, I can't even think of anyone's house that has, like, a really thought out audio setup.
Unless they're like a billionaire.
Like,
or
and I'm a
millionaire.
techno geek, and I have a sound bar that kind of sounds like shit, if I'm being honest.
My audio comes directly from the TV speakers. I don't have,
You
I
know
don't
what I
have
mean?
a sound
And
bar.
so you try to, like, yeah, it gets loud, but, like, in terms of, like, sitting in a theater and enjoying that and, like, having the lights off and, like, being exposed to something, we do really miss. That is
Is that,
something
I don't know
missed.
if that's just exposing like our age, but like there was like watching a new movie used to be like an event, like you would go there.
Well, they
there
gave out
was
free
always
stuff.
crowds.
You had to get there early.
Yeah,
'cause
you
couldn't
get there
reserve
early.
seats.
Yeah, you always have to fight for your seat. But it was like,
You did.
popcorn. You had the theater seat. It was always an experience seeing things on the big screen. And it didn't matter what kind of movie you're watching. You just were happy you were at the movie theater. And that's sadly...
All of that still exists, though. Like,
It
going
does.
to the theater, like, everything you just said is still in place.
It
It's
doesn't
just
feel the same
different-
anymore.
It doesn't feel the same. And I think, honestly, it's just because of the plethora of entertainment options we
The
have.
last time I felt anything remotely like that was probably Top Gun.
Like, you remember what it used
Yeah.
to take to watch
Top
a
Gun,
movie?
yeah.
Top Gun was an amazing experience. But
Yeah.
you remember what you used to have to do to, like, watch a movie at home?
You
You
have
had
to
to go,
wait.
like, buy a DVD, rent it at
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster or something. Like, it was a process. Now
Yeah.
it's like, I
Or
hit
VHS.
the Netflix button on my remote that
And I
says
have
Netflix.
600
And I
movies
hit
available.
4 buttons to, like, there we go.
That is honestly...
Entertain me. You know, it's like,
That is honestly one of those things that, like, I think if you were born after the year 2000, it's...
do people watch movies on their phone? Like, that's
We just-
cringe.
Got aged
We did.
super hard.
Yeah, but
The Zoomers are going to
But
take
the
us
thing,
down.
all the things that we still said that we loved, like, that's experience can still be had.
Yes.
It's just, one, your selection of movies is not like. Have you gone? Like, obviously, you guys have gone to the movies recently. You remember going years ago? There was like 20 options of movies
Well,
to choose from.
and
Yeah.
you
Now
would
there's
go,
like 4.
you'd go and you'd look at the thing. You're like, which one do I want to see?
Yeah.
What time
You'd have
is it
to
at?
pre-order
There's no
anything.
app, or you had to call. Do you
There's
guys remember
nowhere
that?
at.
Having
There's
to
my
call.
walker.
I remember...
I remember having to call the movie theater because, like, my
Ah.
mom would be like, "Dill, call, find out what times it is," and I'd have to sit there and listen
Oh,
for the
it was
automated
like the-
voice.
I remember when
I don't
Spider-Man
think I ever
2...
did that.
Spider-Man 2 came out, and I was, as a kid, I was even more into Spider-Man than I am now. When Spider-Man 2 came out with Doc Ock, we went to the theater. It was so crowded that my dad and me were like holding off the seats because we're like, no, we have people coming. And we had to like fight people off. And I'm like a little kid, like, no, you can't sit here. and I hated that. But at the same time, like, you never have to worry about that anymore, which I guess is a plus. But all those little things like kind of built into like the movie theater experience.
Yeah, it was an adventure. Like,
Yeah.
you went, you didn't know when the next showing was.
There's
right?
no pre-ordering anything.
Yeah,
you got there
showed
early.
Up, You hoped you got good seats. You tried to get there early to get good seats, right? Um,
In the wintertime, you have to wait outside to buy tickets at Sparks.
now it's
'Cause-
such a, you know what? That is so true. That's like, God, that's a lot of experiences like where the ancillary stuff gets taken away and it's just so efficient. It's like you picked up on our apps now. We go on the app, we pick the show time, we drive 30 minutes before we get to the spot, park, buy our popcorn, go sit down right as the stuff's kicking on, and then we leave immediately.
And
It's
it's
so
weird.
efficient. But you take all that stuff away that made it an adventure. You go down there. Are they going to have a showing in 10 minutes? Are they going to have a showing in an hour and a half? What do? Do you go to dinner? Do you kind of hang around?
And this was before YouTube. So you used to have to wait to see trailers
On
at a
TV.
movie in order to see the trailer.
What was coming out?
Now, if you go to the theaters, it's a bunch of trailers you've already seen because it's been released on YouTube like a week ago. But you used to actually see new stuff.
And it was exciting.
And it was like, what? I didn't know they were making this.
Iron Man?
Yeah.
Or how about like when you'd have to watch like the halftime show on like a Monday Night Football to catch the new Superman trailer coming out or whatever. And there was no way to reference back to it. You had to be right there.
That's almost like Super Bowl commercials are diminished now because they release everything online like a week before it comes out. Like,
God, it's so weird. It's again,
not
it
worse.
still can be had.
it's not worse.
You can still do that. You
they
can
can-
still go down there and say, "What do you want to do?" But the selection of shows is definitely not there. There's only like, we went down there the other day. There was like 6 movies,
yeah.
and I was like, "What is
The
this?"
convenience factor and like all the pluses that go with that. I mean,
It outweigh it.
it's definitely, it's by no means is it a bad experience now. And in fact, in a lot of ways, it's better than it used to be. But I think a lot of the spectacle of like catching a movie on the weekend is gone from it. I still love, one of my favorite outings is still going to the movie theater though. I love movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
It is fun. It's a definitely an entertainment plus when you have both the visual stimulation and the sound, the audio.
No.
Dream setup. I'm gonna have a home theater setup one day.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
is
build a
that on your vision
multi-tier-
board for
Yep.
when you finally make it?
Yep, I'm gonna have a multi-tier theater where like the people sitting behind each other will still have a clear as day view. They'll walk in. We'll have a popcorn machine
We're going to have a podcast episode in there?
next week.
All right.
He's building it right now. You didn't see that?
Just the model version of it right now. But
12 inches wide, 15 inches tall. Check
Dylan.
it out.
where can people find us?
They can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, which you're on right now if you're watching us, as well as all your podcast platforms such as Spotify, Podcast
Attic.
Addict, which is our biggest one, and much more where you can give us a like, subscribe, let us know.
Smash it.
Smash.
Yeah.
Smash.
Just smash.
Smash. Smash. Smash.
Just hang around.
Smash.
All right.
We should do a smash or pass
Of like movie titles
on a stream. I don't know.
or of each of us.
I don't know.
Just,
We'll have to decide.
it's just pictures of us.
Elden Ring bosses.
The only people in the chat are
Smash
are
or
wives.
pass Elden Ring bosses?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh God.
Remember in the early days of the podcast when we do Fuck, Marry, Kills with like the weirdest shit?
Well, isn't there like a Rule 34? Something like
Yes. If there is something, porn exists of it.
that? Yeah.
Uh,
So like, I don't. Yeah. Of Elden Ring bosses, I'm probably passing on every single one of them.
I don't know.
Melania?
She's rot.
I don't think
Melina?
you want to see what she's got going on. Melina's not a boss.
She's also not even like existent. She's like a fairy that fades in and out of like a memory.
What about Renala?
Dude, she's crazy.
She's crazy.
And she's trying to kill me.
But that body.
It's just a smash or pass.
Yeah, just smash or pass.
She's
You don't have to build a life with this person.
She's also fertile, right? You know, the rebirth in she carried an egg.
He's planning out his domination of the lands between. What about America?
What about Horror Lou?
That guy.
We're
Ain't
done.
no way you topping Horaloo.
Yeah, no.
That guy will
done.
own you.
He's the top.
We're done. Anyways,
Nephali Lou.
Nepheli Lou, she's not a boss,
I
Yeah,
know,
but I
you summon her.
I'd smash.
All right. Well, that's been a nice little quick stream. All right,
that's
guys.
that was the video game part of the video games.
Yep.
In the thumbnail.
We had to get it, and we did.
Yep.
All right. Catch us on our podcast, guys. Every Tuesday we release a new episode. So see you there.